2006 to 2010 were powerful years of transformation for me. I'd taken what I'd learned about developing a positive mindset, asking what works and what doesn't, and the law of attraction, and begun to rewrite my entire life. My main objective during those years was the development of an actual career. I was more than halfway through a trade apprenticeship at the end of 2010 and was focused on obtaining my Red Seal certification. I had enjoyed so many successful experiences during that time that my focus shifted from learning to getting caught up in the enjoyment of living. The success of my own life improved so dramatically in just a few short years that I became just a little bit too comfortable. As a result of all of these things, it wasn't until the fall of 2010 that I encountered my fourth moment of success. Now, this fourth moment of success is related to the first moment of success that I've already shared with you. Commit to the development of a positive mindset. For whatever reason, however, in 2004, when I first began developing a positive mindset, I didn't even realize that what I'm about to share with you was an option. Because I worked at home when I began developing a positive mind, I had the ability to control my environment. As a result, my approach to developing a positive mindset focused mostly on the elimination of negative sources of information. I unplugged myself entirely from the mainstream media. I shut off the television, shut off the radio, limited my internet focus. I basically shut the world off at that time in my life in order to focus on the development of a new mindset. And even though I was successful in my approach, the only thing that I did was to limit the sources of negative influence in my life. It wasn't until an entire 6 years later that I realized that I could do what I'm about to share with you, as well as why it's important. In the fall of 2010, I somehow encountered a program called The Course in Mastery by Tom Wood. The objective of the program was to watch a short video each day for 30 days as you progress through the program. I remember specifically asking myself on the third day, what would happen if I watched all 30 days, every day, for 30 days? I never actually did that. However, it was that way of thinking that was responsible for leading me to my fourth moment of success, which is this: immerse yourself in positive influence. Even though I had successfully eliminated most of the negative input into my life, I realize now, several years later, that this was only one half of a two-sided coin. I somehow missed that the second side of that coin was to add positive sources of influence into your life. Let me take just a couple of moments to explain why both sides of this coin are important. I'd like you to imagine for just a moment that you live in a beautiful home and you have a swimming pool in your backyard. One day, when you go out into your backyard to look at your swimming pool, you notice that instead of being filled with clean, clear water for swimming, that is actually full of mud. Now imagine hooking up a garden hose and beginning to pour fresh water into the pool. Think for just a moment how long it will take for you to stand there, flushing the mud out of your pool with a garden hose. Now, the beautiful home that you live in can be likened to your physical body. The swimming pool is meant to represent your subconscious mind. The garden hose represents your ability to use your conscious mind in an attempt to flush your subconscious mind. The mud in the pool represents the majority of thoughts, beliefs, and learning that we've accumulated throughout our natural, everyday life. When I decided to decrease the sources of negative influence in my life, I effectively stopped dumping more mud into my pool. And even though I consciously began to train myself to think positively, it was equivalent to trying to flush out the mud in my pool with a garden hose. Without doing something to address the mud that was already in my swimming pool, my success would have been limited to the amount of time that it would have taken to flush that pool with a garden hose. In my personal case, that amounted to over 35 years of accumulated mud. When I finally realized that I had the ability to immerse myself in positive influence, it was like taking a backhoe and emptying the mud out of my pool so that I could then begin to fill it with fresh, clean water. My experience with the online course in mastery allowed me to realize that I could begin building a collection of positive media in my life. I began to buy new books like Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill and Awaken the Giant Within by Tony Robbins. Although I'd watched The Secret years before in 2006, I now realized in 2010 that I could begin to follow each individual member of The Secret online. This led me to discover great programs by people like John Assaraf, Bob Proctor, and Dr. Joe Vitale. Audio programs are great for listening to while driving. I learned from Tony Robbins how to take advantage of NET time, or net time, which means no extra time. We all have access to this time while traveling to and from work, or just when we're out and about driving. You can choose to use this time that you're already spending in order to improve your mindset by listening to positive audio programs. And by the way, in addition to these videos that you're watching, I've also included an audio version of this same program. I encourage you to download the MP3 files, put them on a flash stick, and enjoy listening to them while you're out and about driving in order to take advantage of your net time. In my personal life, I collect video, audio, and books in order to keep myself immersed in positive sources of influence. It's this specific habit that has allowed me to kick an already successful life into an even higher gear, allowing me to grow even further on my path to success. My suggestion to you is to increase your own sources of positive influence in your life in order to see whether this approach works for you. With all of these 4 moments of success working together in my personal life, it allowed me to achieve my 5th moment of success, which I'll share with you next.